The other thing I find difficult is people say the opposite of law is grace. To me, the opposite of law is lawlessness.
Yes, exactly. Good.
Because, people say we're not under law, we're under grace, as if they're two opposites.
Well, and the word under modifies each by making it say under in what sense? Under law, under grace. It's the method by which you're judged. I'm judged on the basis of law, or I'm judged on the basis of grace. So it's the method of judgment that is doing the judging, if you will. And that's kind of what we talked about at the beginning when I was saying there's
I'm just thinking
God's part and his law and the covenant to himself, the thing he said he would do, and our part that we're not being judged anymore. I'm not that covenant I made with sin and death. I'm not judged under that. Under that covenant I made to sin and die. But I'm judged based on the grace of God who did this other thing over here. And this is going to be annulled because I never die. And that's where we were talking about in Hebrews, because I never die, then this is made moot. There's a sense in which it's the penalty is done away with. The enmity is the term he uses in Ephesians and elsewhere. The enmity of the law against us. The law was not done away with. The enmity of the law, that which the death part that comes from sinning under it, that enmity. And the enmity is the same as, like, right now there's no enmity of the law against me in the state of Arizona. I have not at least been caught speeding recently.
You confessing something?
Do I need to confess something? Yeah, forgive me. Being late to church or whatever. No, I was early today. I was not speeding. Well, I was doing everyone speeding, not like speeding. So anyway, I was technically violating the law. Technically following along with everyone else who was technically violating the law. We were cruising along at the same pace. Anyway, but the enmity of the law against me is only happens when I have the ticket, right? Then I go pay my fine, and the enmity of the law is no longer against me. But I'm not no longer under the speeding laws. I'm just, the enmity of the law is not against me because I'm not lawless, because the law is for the lawless, right? Why is the law for the lawless? The law is for the lawless because it brings enmity, and it has to be judged, and it has to have correction, and there has to be a balancing of scales. But when you're following the law by presupposition here, then the law is not for you. Why? Because it's on your heart, you're walking it out, and there's no enmity. So it's only for the lawless that the law comes and judges and then makes right and brings the scales back in line, right? So that's the rhetoric also that they use. The law is for the lawless. Well, yeah, that would be all of us.
He says, well, what then? Are we to sin because we are not under law but under grace? By no means. It's like...
slow down and say that again. Because he says, are we to sin?
Sin, yeah.
Which would be what? Are we to violate the law because we're under grace? God forbid you violate the law because you're under grace, because you're not going to be judged. Again, that under, you're not going to be judged based on your missing the mark. You're going to be judged based on his hitting the mark. Yes, right? Yeah. You're not judged on your missing the mark. You're judged on his hitting the mark. It's we've been delivered from and unto, from death unto life. That's why there's two covenants, neither in which the two covenants God could lie, says the book of Hebrews, right? His perfect justice and righteousness, and his perfect grace and mercy under new covenant relationship versus law, his perfect justice and righteousness under the law. So yeah, perfect. Ooh, we need to tag team more often on that. That's good. That's good stuff.